Ê. Ôi, chân nặng. Chậm. Go straight, Mo. Go straight. Lên khỏi lên miệng lên sơ bỏ. Ok. Go. Go. Go slow. Lên đi Mo. Nó bắt ta đòn lên đi Mo. Lên. Đây, public market lên. Tepat tepat lên. Pakai nyo lah nya. Ada pasara dot di dot. Kata. Oh kok. Ke. Namun lah, dah kalau ada kuatasa, pasara tawa. Lên. Có đâu không được không? Cứ lưới sâu đó lên gì? Mula po diyan. Apa chanya? Get you some celery. Lên nhà bán cỏ lên. Ôi là bột priêu. Là cỏ làm lên.
What? Did he let to work on Friday?
Nó hưa đó, bao lên. Nếu quay giờ luôn mà bao lên. Yes, sorry. Hey, Willie.
Free to show her your appreciation as well.
Tanari, Willie.
With that from all of us here at Argosy Cruises,
Tanari.
thank you so much for joining us on our harbor tour.
Bagi
of
hira
LA.
che lusi khwa ba la.
And we hope you have a lovely afternoon here in Seattle.
Ha.
ไม่ให้อาสาละ
Ye he Willie la. Ta khina ri la.
ไม่ได้แต่บ้าผมนี่แค่แต่มันมาถึงแต่นาฬิกา
Willie Tanari Willie le.
Is 45. You also might see some blackbirds with white wings flying around like this one to our right with the red feet flying low over the water here. These are pigeon guillemons. They are in the auk family. The auklet family is the same family that puffins are in, and these are species that we get here all year long. We also have the CMA CGM Arkansas here to our right. We also have a plane above us and a floating field. So the CMA CGM Arkansas is really one of the larger vessels we get. Captain Chris is taking us nice and slow so you can see just how big this vessel is. The Space Needle by comparison is about 604 feet tall. This vessel is about 980 feet in length. So if you put this vessel on its stern, it's over 400 feet taller than this particular container ship holds 7,000 20-foot containers. So this is really big. Now when these come into dock, oftentimes they're And if you see some words out there, Evergreen, that's the shipping companies. If you're wondering what's inside of those boxes, live. Fresh and salt water. We have two openings north of us that allow water from the Pacific Ocean to come in here, so that's our salt water. Ahead of us is the fresh water of the Walsh River, so we have a mix of fresh and salt water, also known as brackish water. Great for wildlife, also underneath us, really deep waters. And those tidal waters that come in from the Pacific Ocean bring a lot of great nutrients, supporting things like those harbor porpoise, harbor seals, California sea lions. We also out here get things like UK whales, humpback whales, gray whales. In addition to that, of course, also we get orca. Now out here, our southern resident orca are probably the most studied orca in the world. There's about 73 individuals of those, kind of fluctuates. They are an endangered species. One reason why is their main diet is salmon. So they don't really have a very wide diet, and our salmon population is not doing very well. So because their health and longevity is tied to that salmon, they're struggling a bit. So really important for us to keep our salmon populations healthy, to keep those orca healthy. Some states around us have been doing some really great work to kind of elevate the health of the salmon. One state, or two states I should say, Oregon and California. Last year they did 4 dam removals on the Klamath River. Within 24 hours of taking down those 4 dams, which were the largest dam removals in history, they had salmon returning in less than 24 hours. And some of those salmon returned to lakes that they haven't been seen at in over 100 years. So once those salmon return, they're really beneficial. Salmon are considered a keystone species, which just means they're so super important to the rest of the ecosystem. And when they're healthy, they just create health throughout the rest of the animal kingdom as well as the plant kingdom. In Seattle, so salmon is a huge deal. Also here, we're quite known for a type of fish called pollock. Pollock is in the cod family. You probably had it, even if you're not sure if you had. And about 60% of the pollock catch happens up in Alaska. We have very large fishing vessels heading up to Alaska, catching large amounts of pollock, and then they come down and they park it here at the C175 building to our right, and store it in that cold storage facility. We have a nice view of our cruise ship there. That is our second cruise terminal. That's the Carnival Spirit. More importantly, though, oh, I guess she's gone. I was going to talk about our mountain, but oh no, she's there. Wow. So earlier today, there was a nice view of Mount Rainier. About half of her, and now you can just see the tippity top of her. So if you want to see the tippity top of Mount Rainier, look ahead of us and to the left. You're going to see these cranes in the distance, kind of where the ship is, right in front of us on the left-hand side. Just above that, you're going to see just the top of a snowy mountain there. So just a little bit of a peek of that Mount Rainier ahead of us on the left-hand side. She might come out a little bit more visibly a little bit later on, but I'll talk a little bit about her anyway. So Mount Rainier is an active volcano. It sits at Mount Rainier National Park, one of our 3 national parks in the Washington State area. And Mount Rainier, also known as Mount Tahoma. Mount Tahoma and variations of that name were the names known to it by our indigenous population. Mount Rainier name was given to that mountain by Captain George Vancouver when he was here in 1792. He was here exploring the region. He saw Mount Rainier, didn't really realize it had a name already, and he thought, geez, that's a very large mountain. It kind of reminds me of my large friend Peter Rainier. So he decided to name the mountain after his friend Peter Rainier. So there is a push to rename the mountain back to its original name, kind of like they've done up in Alaska for Mount Denali. If you are here for any length of time, anybody planning on going to any of the national parks while you're here, Mount Rainier should definitely be on your list. On the rocks, so doing a bit of tide pulling, looking for some sea stars and sea anemones, as well as nudibranchs, maybe a baby octopus or two. So that's a pretty popular thing to do here in our area during our super low tide days. We often have our beaches are open and people can tide pulling here. After your tide pulling adventure, if you choose to do so, you can continue your stroll and you'll find yourself at Myrtle Edwards Park. Myrtle Edwards Park is this Green Tree Park there, some people walking through there. And Myrtle Edwards Park was named for the same woman who was a city council member, and she really believed in the power of green spaces in the city. She went around buying up plots of land to protect them for future park spaces. So we named this one after her. If any of you are familiar with that fantastic show, Parks and Recreation, she's a little bit like our Seattle version of Leslie Knope. At Myrtle Edwards Park, we also have a bit of a nod to our newspaper past here. We have this giant blue globe on top of this building with the neon eagle on top. And the globe says around the edges, it's in the PI. The PI is the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, which was our very first newspaper back in the day. It was established in the mid-1860s or so. Before Seattle was really a happening city like it is now. It was more of a sawmill town back then, and Washington was not even a state. We have a really nice flyover of an osprey. If you guys look up to the left here, just up above us, ever so slightly, you'll see this slow flapping bird here. This is one of our fish-eating hawks. They come up here from Central America, South America, and Mexico, and they breed up here. And their diet consists of 100% of fish, so they love to fly around out here. So definitely worth checking out. As we continue along here, we have this series of colorful buildings to our right-hand side. This is our very first cruise terminal. So we started kind of accommodating cruises back in the day, and these cruises are now headed up to Alaska mostly, and so our cruise season runs mid-April through mid-October. And with that short cruise season, about 6 months long, we accommodate actually about 300 cruise ships in that short window. So a lot of cruise ships coming here, heading up to Alaska during those wonderful summer months, hoping to see that wildlife up there. Towards the end of the year, we also have repositioning cruises to Australia as well. Now, some of you might be familiar with the Edgewater Hotel here. We have the Edgewater Hotel on the right-hand side. It's this gray building with the mustard yellow trim and the giant red E on top. This is one of our very oldest hotels, and certainly our only hotel on the water. It was built for the 1962 World's Fair. People building this hotel hoped that guests coming for that fair would stay here in their rooms, but nobody stayed at the Edgewater in 1962.
Okay, good job.
Really because they missed just how long it would take to build a hotel on the water. It wasn't as easy as they thought. So by the time they opened their doors to accommodate guests, everyone had gone home from the fair. So they came up with a couple of great ideas to lure people into their rooms. One of those including of things like the giant Pacific octopus. Those are things found in our waters here. Also sea otters, also lots of different seabirds, fur seals, harbor seals, all kinds of fun stuff. So the Seattle Aquarium is more of a research and education facility. So if you're not been to the aquarium, definitely worth it. They have a touch-tight pool tank. You can check out the wildlife there. And then if you see that wooden structure with the glass window in the center and the people standing at the park on top with those double-decker stairs, that is also the aquarium, but that's called the Ocean Pavilions. That really focuses on wildlife found in the waters, most western Pacific Ocean waters near the countries of Malaysia and the Philippines. So not the local wildlife here, but think of things like sharks and rays and different coral species, more warm water, kind of tropical species of animals. So definitely worth visiting. You can actually take those double-decker stairs there up to Pike Place Market. We can see the market from here. You can see those red umbrellas on the balcony. That's the backside of the market. You come back down to the water. This barge right here, you can see in the water. This green barge is soccer celebration. This whole year is Pier 62. They have a lot of events going on for World Cup. Friends of Seattle Waterfront is a great website to check those events. So they have that giant TV on all the time. They're going to be showing all the World Cup games there, and they have these food trucks there, and they even have a floating soccer field on that barge as well. So lots of fun stuff for the World Cup. But back to Pike Place Market, so definitely check out Pike Place Market. Sounds like someone let off a firecracker over there. Pike Place Market, oldest continually runs. We usually have some Midwesterners on board. I see some hands in the back there. Welcome aboard, Midwesterners. Anybody from the south or southwestern portion of the country? And they're in the front and they're in the back. Welcome, welcome. And international visitors, anybody visiting from international waters? Fantastic show of hands. Where are you all from over there? Hong Kong? Fantastic. And I saw international hands over here. Australia, welcome, fantastic. Anybody, where is that? Mongolia, fantastic. Wow, we got almost the whole globe covered here. Anybody here for an Alaska cruise? No one here for an Alaska cruise? Okay, sometimes you'll get here. We're going to talk about Alaska cruises a little bit later on, but we are pulling out of our slip, which is Pier 55. We've been operating out of this slip for over 75 years, which is really hard to believe. We originally started off with a water taxi service. We morphed into Argosy Cruises. Captain Lynn Campbell used to take passengers over to the Kitsap Peninsula, and he discovered that passengers actually would stay on board, and that gave him an idea for a tour company instead of that water taxi that we originally started out as. And that's kind of a quick synopsis of us as a company. As we back up here, we've got some vessels right behind us. I don't usually have us turn around and look, but we're really close to a couple of our Washington State ferries. So over to the right, you got the Tacoma. And then to the left, coming in as well, one of our other Washington State ferries. These are a couple of our larger ferries. Right about some freshly popped boarded our vessel. We do have the restaurant on the waterfront. And ice cream. We also have some sandwiches. We can cook up in our oven. Hummus and veggie trays. Include sodas from the mountain and the most beautiful products, as well as some cocktails. And if you want to try some local beers and wines to Seattle, Washington, and the Northwest, we have a lot of options there as well. We also have some cocktails. I need you to drink it. Cocktails on board the vessel include
say hello. Hi. Thanks. Head dot Lily. Our America ni Sikisili head dot little blola. The pay and have a blola. Dot Lila got dot do dot her no blob our pay ya. But now the water block, silver block, clip hot do yada, the me clip for. So it's on you. Yes.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Look what's happening. Is that it? But let's talk about do you have a gagilla? I can't follow the guitar. What's the guitar? He gets honey.
Anybody wants to go outside, you can go out through the front door there to the top deck if you like.
Go, let's talk about it. Baby, ma. Ah, baby. Surely. Oh, support ka camera with you. Hey. Alala, awata leha puya kana. Awara mes ser washit we ser takidala. Leva ba tan yo ra. Awade ne ha chot as ya ne me chaw wa sa ba le ba ni ya. Awade jani. Awade la ba ba jani. We pura hi tu ja nuwa du ja wa ni la ge ya le. Ha? Da be hin la ma. Awa le. Dotli ni ai takpat ya. Wala bal dotli. 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 Ba ticket. Ticket ga Lucy Khoba. Lucy Khoba pota ne
Okay, yeah, $192.16 at right here whenever you're ready.
pata Dotli mahale, Dotli have critically. Dotli have critically, not do. Lucy Khobable, Pota, Nikisi Yaba. There were Burrita Java.
Okay, no worries.
What was your first and last name again?
So how many under 3? One under 3. And how many between 3 and 12?
Còn đó có đâu cho bên hay bạn thì phải đi à? Đây mới đo bus từ nào? Lên vào. Bro, go. Well, can I plus share your word? What clip on door me? What other tiller? One line or one line letter. But do our one line. Có cái lần lại mà lần đỏ rồi bê hả ban lại vậy à ban lại đó đuổi về các bạn con nó phải ra cho đấy đó pada kebaca banyak ke dah kebaca go lah nó đó mà ta đó à lên vào bắt ra pura dari dia atera hele mana ya le ya mana ma apply radio ha ada ko awal kuala ko bebe plia ke khele Ninja ya tala phane ne ye ha phya ba khilwa talwa de ye chila ba khaila Abu ma quên đuổi thì cái này hay là đó
xe đủ
nó làm mà cái gì
Sunny, remember that road we took? Remember? It was good. That's beautiful. No, I don't. That's beautiful. This song's so ass. Wait, this is American.
What new law about that? New law, what? Slide